Hi there. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Anchored, that time where we get to connect with each other to hear excellent truths from God's Word. I know I'm being a little silly, but that's because I'm trying to give you a hint. I brought an egg today. I want to use this egg to help us understand something that Jesus was trying to teach his disciples. And so I hope you will join me in saying our egg expression, and let's get anchored. Well, I'm going to get to this later, but I want to start by telling you a story that you can find in Matthew 19. In Matthew 19, somebody came to Jesus with a very important question. This man came and asked Jesus, "What good things must I do in order to get into the kingdom of heaven?" He wanted to know what he could do that would be good enough for him to get into heaven. And Jesus, he had an answer for him, and he simply told him, well, keep the commandments. Well, I think this man, when he heard that answer, at first was starting to feel a little excited. Oh, I know those commandments. But which ones? Which ones should I be keeping? So Jesus listed some commandments. He said, well, don't murder, don't commit adultery, don't steal or lie or be jealous. And you must remember to honor your parents, love your neighbor as yourself. And the man thought to himself, well, I'm already doing all of those things. And he asked Jesus, what am I still missing? And Jesus said to him, well, then, if you think that you are going to be perfect, well, what you need to do is you need to sell everything you own. You need to give away all of your possessions, and you need to come and follow me. And then the Bible tells us that that man went away sad. He left that conversation sad because he had a lot of possessions. He was a very rich man. And so what Jesus was asking him to give up was a lot. Now, as soon as he left, Jesus turned to his disciples. And I love what he said here. He said to the disciples, he said, it would be easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than for that man to get into the kingdom of heaven. And the disciples were so confused. What is Jesus saying? It would be harder for a camel to go through the eye of the needle? That's impossible. A camel is huge and a needle is little. It's impossible. So what Jesus is saying is that it's impossible for that man. They asked Jesus a question, well, then who could possibly be saved? And Jesus had a wonderful answer. He said, remember, with people, things are impossible, and with God, nothing is impossible. That means everything is possible, including a camel, I suppose, through the eye of a needle. I'm going to use my egg now. I couldn't find a camel. I'm really sorry about that. That would have been really cool. But I decided to use something that seems impossible to fit into something else. And so this seems impossible for it on its own to fit into here. In fact, I could push it, but then I would wreck this egg. And I actually want to keep this egg and have it stay whole. So I'm not going to push it there. But then I remembered what Jesus had said. He said, with people, this is impossible. But with God, nothing is impossible. And what he was trying to tell that very rich man was that he was leaving something very important out. You know, the very first commandment is love God. Love God with your whole heart. Love God in a way that shows that he is number one. Put him first. Put him in front of everything you own. Put him in front of everything you do. Make him first. And that man went away sad because he couldn't make God first. And so we're going to add loving God to this impossible situation, and we're going to see how God takes something that seems impossible and makes it possible. Because just like Jesus said, with people, this is impossible. But with God, nothing is impossible. Now, I've heard it said that when we love something, we can say a phrase, something like, I'm so on fire for that. And so today I want us to say, I'm so on fire for God. I'm so on fire for God that I'm going to put him first. And so this is going to be us, and this is our impossible thing, and this is being so on fire for God. And so being on fire for God, we're going to add this to the jar before we add the egg, and then we're going to see if that changes the picture that we had before. So I'm just going to light a fire here so that I can light this on fire. I'm going to get my egg ready. So on fire for God. Did you see that? It changed everything. With people, things seem impossible. With God, nothing is impossible. Today our challenge is to see, are there areas where we need to put God back into first place? Are there areas where we need to make sure he is number one? How can we continue to be on fire for God?